ni kò ṣẹrú. Ó wá sáyé ọmọ ọba ni kò ṣẹrú. Ó wá sáyé kò ṣẹ̀wọ̀n.
Ó yá akéde mo fẹ́ délé bàbá tó bí lọ́mọ.
Ọmọ ọba ni kò
Bàbá mi
ṣẹrú.
ò gbànígbà ní ojú ọ̀nà ó ṣe gbámú. Òsán gírí la gírí, ọ̀la gírí làgà.
Ọmọ ọba ni
Akọ́kọ́
kò
arẹ́rẹ́
ṣẹrú.
bàbá mi ò wọ kẹbẹ̀rẹ̀ jẹjọ. Jàkúmọ́ lòdì ọ̀rọ̀, apálá ti jó tọ̀hún tọ̀hún.
Hello, hi everyone, and welcome to this evening to MCT User Group African Master Grassroots program. And my humble self, my name is Oluwaseyi Oluwawumiju, and I will be taking you through the guide through this event. In real sense, the event is actually looking at ways at which we can try to marry mentors against those that are just coming to IT, those that want to change career, especially when it comes to IT, and how they go about this. And it's going to be a very interactive section with people around the world, with experts that are Microsoft driven, and how we can engage them in telling us their story. And way back when I was still in college, and I was about getting into college, and my exit towards college, I noticed a phenomenon. I call it a phenomenon where people that have knowledge keep those knowledge. And after getting out for years, I noticed there is no platform to share, especially to have a way to look up to someone to be able to guide you through this process of career, to guide you through what you need to do, and to be able to assess this. So, in nutshell, what this forum is going to give us is a perspective that needs to change the way we look at technology. Today, we have a very good lineup, and I don't know whether David, can you help me to run my slide, or should I do it from here? Okay. Okay.
Hello, sorry, just to mention. So you can
Thank you,
share your
David.
slide. Yeah, so you can share your slide and then I'll take it live once it's shared.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you share your slide.
I will share it. Yeah. Okay. Can you guys see my slide?
Not yet. Not yet showing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming up now. Okay.
Okay.
So your slide
Okay,
is live
that's
now.
great. It's live. Thank you, David. And just as I said, the MC Niger African Masters is trying to look at a way to look at the grassroots. And the theme for this event, which is going to take place every month, is to look at technology innovation and how we can set that part people that from the grassroots. And we have already the message from the event itself was about is just captured in this short video I wanted to watch again. So, what is it all about? Connecting experts with mentees, advisory from the mentors to the mentees, creating an environment to have knowledge about Microsoft Cloud. What is it all about? How we can forge our future to there. Then we are going to look at another phenomenon, which is the digital workspace, which we know after COVID-19, even post-COVID, we are not even through with COVID. We still have the data wave now, and it's telling us that in the future, presently, we might still be running a remote environment. We might still be using digital technology to achieve more in terms of productivity, efficiency, and what we want to do. Now, that's all this all about. But I want to introduce you to the MCT Nigeria Tech User Group. We are over 15 user group across the country, and some other from other parts of West Africa, like Gambia, like Ghana. We have friends from Ivory Coast and Cote d'Ivoire, rather, and some also from South Africa. And we are coming together in order to have an holistic view about technology, primarily streamline it from the cloud perception. Microsoft 365, Dynamic 365, Power BI, Power Platform, Data and AI. Also, as developers, in terms of DevOps, what are the things that are there? Also, in terms of security, our main goal is to be able to ensure that we create an environment in our ecosystem where we can easily solve problems. When the issue is raised, we can come together as a community, as Africans, and we can actually solve this problem and enhance the way our technology move in our ecosystem. Now, we have a guest today, and let me just give you a brief about him. It's someone I met some years back, and the passion he has, especially when it comes to technology. Then I met him in the US, and we were talking, and it was so, his emphasis was how he could give back. He currently stays in UK, and he knows what it takes to have a grassroots effect, what it takes to have people that have talent, and those talent are not properly married with people that can lift them up or enhance the way they perceive, that they enhance the perception about the technology and how they can launch into this technology, use this technology, and also make career about it. He's a very wonderful person. He's married, although he didn't marry one of us here. But he's cool. He's a very cool-headed person that I met over the year, and it has been a very good mentor to me in terms of the way he drives technology. And today, our guest is David Okeyede. He's a cloud security expert, a consultant, and he works currently with Palo Alto Network, and he has worked in several industries like Sophos. He has been a professional that are run to the cloud enterprise across AWS and so many platforms. Now, the catch here is that he's an MVP, he's an MCT. The catch here is that what drives this man? What makes him to be David? What makes him to look at this career? What are the benefits to this career? David, can you say hello to people?
Hey, hello, Mr. Shea. How you doing? For a minute, I thought you were describing yourself there when you were talking about the passion, because
Wow, I
you're
was
Mr. Passion
inspiring
yourself,
you.
right? No, it's very good
uh,
to be here. It's very good to be here. Just to say hello to everyone. So thanks very much for having me here, and also to mention that you mentioned that you're getting some information from me, and sort of like helping with the community. Well, I've mentioned it to you in the past, and I keep mentioning that every time you speak about the grassroots, it's like you're transferring something to me. Right? Every single
Mm,
time you speak about the grassroots, I make notes all the time, and I still remember one of your phrases that you said. You said the talent in Africa is in the grassroots. There are
mm,
still a lot of unreached people with amazing talent, amazing ability out there, and our communities must be structured in such a way not just to bring in the people that are visible, but also to reach the unreached and tap into the talent in those unreached communities. So, I credit you with that quote, and that's one of my, driving quotes now.
Thank you, David. Well, just as you said, we have so many untapped talent here.
Hmm,
And I pray by grace that this kind of channel will be able to draw them out of their comfort zone and bring them to where they are supposed to be.
hmm,
And I just pray that we go far with this kind of program. And also, please sending your question to the guest. David is right with us. If you have any question, maybe you are new to IT and you want to know what it takes to be an IT person, and you are also thinking about changing your career and you want to have guidance, we are here for you. And that is the essence of this particular event. So if you have that, you are free to send it. We're going to look at all those questions and we're going to try to answer your question after when the time for the question and answer comes. Now, meanwhile, I want to ask you a question, David.
hmm,
What is the best advice you can give to help plan a career rather
hmm,
than just believing on getting a job?
hmm,
Because
hmm,
we are looking at passion against your career drive, against what you want to achieve.
hmm.
Please, can you just in a few minutes?
Yeah. So thanks very much. So, I mean, the modern world that we live in today, um, and sort of like the way that technology is taking over in a lot of sectors are driven by technology these days. Um, I'll say my top advice is to treat your career as a personal brand, as a personal business, rather than just looking to get a job. So
Mm,
essentially, you have to see yourself as your business. So it doesn't matter whether you're working
mm,
for an organization, whether you're working for a company, or whether you're looking to get a job to work for a company. You have to see yourself as the business. And what do you do when you see yourself as the business? You have to look for ways to get yourself out there, right? You have to look for ways to market yourself. You have to look for ways to get better. You have to look for ways to promote yourself, right? You can't just afford to wait for an employer to develop you, right? You can't
mm,
afford to do that. And you can't afford to wait, you have to get yourself into positions where you connect with people in the different communities and where you sort of get that input that you need to take your career to the next level. So I can tell you many stories in my own experience. So like there are different challenges that you face if you're working in an environment like Nigeria. If you're working in an environment in like UK, there are different challenges that you face. You have challenges around even issues relating to prejudice and maybe racism and other things that you have to face. You can't just afford
mm,
to just sit down and wait and think, oh, this employer is going to give me the same opportunity that they're giving to someone else, right?
mm,
So I was telling my good friend Sakofi the other time, I was like, just very early in my career, I remember traveling, like 5 o'clock in the morning to travel to all the way from like Oxford area into London area to go try to learn a new skill, right, in technology, right? Because that was the cheapest I could get. And I remember
mm,
buying like a very, very cheap train ticket because if I miss that train, that's it. I can't afford any other train. So I had to do that. So, but then after I gained that skill, my employer saw that and they thought, oh, we're going to now, bring David up. But if I
mm,
did not go out and get that skill by myself, if I waited on them, I would just be in the same position. So treat yourself as a brand, treat yourself as your own business. Don't wait for an employer to sort of push you out there. If you know how to do something, offer to do it to someone, right? And get yourself out there. So that'll probably be like my top
mm.
one. Yeah.
Thank you, David. Now, what I got from you here is that you are willing to go an extra mile.
Mhm.
Please, this is a shout out to all guys in the grassroots, people that feel they have not been heard. You're in a company, it's as if you are there for years, your career path is sinking. This is a time for you to get up. David said he has to go out. You need to go out. And that takes us to the next question. Tell us your story. How
Yeah.
did you get to where you are now today? Please, can you
Yeah.
tell us your story?
It's a very, very interesting story because I sort of I have mixed feelings about technology due to this, right?
Mm,
Many people have like this feeling of what involvement should parents have in sort of
mm,
like helping their kids to select their areas that they go for. So,
mhm,
some people feel like, it's too harsh if a parent has too much involvement, let the child have flexibility. In my own case, I got into IT because of my dad. So my dad,
wow,
yeah, my dad sort of
that that it must be visionary, honestly.
exactly. And
In
that's the
Nigeria.
thing. Yes. So because that was the thing. So what happened was he was working like in a finance department and he saw that all their processes were moving away from analog to digital. And he was
Mm,
like, this is going to be the future. So when he was talking to us, the kid he asked for, he said, you have two options in this house. If I'm paying for your
mm,
education, you have two options. You're either going for medicine or you're either going for IT.
mm,
So my first two sisters went for medicine, and all I needed to do was see their heavy books. I saw the big
mm,
books, and I was like, "Yep, I'm going for the other one."
mm,
Right? I'm like, "I'm not going to be reading these books. What's the other option?" So I'll go for that. But that was sort of like what steered that.
mm,
So, and I got into it. Essentially, it was just following through the process and everything, right? I didn't begin to really find deep interest in it until like maybe around like 400 level, and that was like one of the painful things. Like in hard times, was because couldn't afford a computer, so I didn't get a computer till I was like 400 level of university, and that
mm,
was when things began to open up. I began to put together like HTML pages, and I was like, whoa! I make that little change in the back end, and I refreshed the page, and the changes, and I was like, this is cool,
mm,
right? And that sort
mm,
of like now got me involved. So it was just mainly like doing like some basic like web design to begin with, like many people start with. And then, like in Nigeria, we get into everything, started doing things to do with IT repairs,
mm,
hardware, and other things, and started going sort of like in that direction.
mm,
So yeah, so that was essentially like how I got started. Like in IT, was just mainly parental influence, and then interest started at around fourth year of university. Even though I've spent like 4 years in the department, not until like the fourth year that I began to like get the interest. I started mainly like designing basic HTML web pages, doing CSS style sheets and other things like that. And
mm.
eventually that evolved into like just hardware repairs and just normal stuff. I remember I used to carry a bunch of discs that have all kinds of software, and people will go, David got yeah, you remember those days? You probably
Yeah.
remember those days.
Oh God. Oh God. Now,
you know
now, David, now, what you just said now
yeah.
made me to realize that most of our institutions, especially back in Africa,
Mm,
and although few of them, there is a lot of court changes that is coming from the private university where they have technology embedded in their curriculum.
mm,
Most of us saw light almost at our final year.
mm,
For my case, I was switching from electrical electronics engineering from a polytechnic, and
mm,
I saw my HOD that runs a computer school, and I
mm.
told him, "Sir, can I be an apprentice?"
Wow.
I,
Wow.
I was willing to just go
Wow.
every length.
Wow.
So if you are there and we have several community in Nigeria, especially in Lagos, is spreading to Abuja, is going to Port Harcourt, is going to Oyo State, is going to even some places, Shaki in Oyo State. We have
Mm,
university, institution where we are pushing the community to it, pushing a
mm,
way by which you can have a platform to learn. For David, it was a parent. For
mm,
you, it might be this. Please get
mm,
on board. Now,
mm,
David, the next question we want to ask you. Now, we saw some innovative idea you
mm,
actually did. One, you were willing to carry disc. You were willing to showcase what you learned from HTML, it
Mm.
was innovative. So how did it carry through your career, even till now?
Yeah.
Your
I'll
ideas.
yeah, I'll tell you like one of the things that you just mentioned now that's really powerful. It's of like, you mentioned your own story where you went to someone and you were like, I'm willing to be an apprentice, right? You saw like an opportunity there and you're like, let's take that. So one of the things that and it is very important because I think that I really need to mention this at this point is that if you're getting into any new area, especially into technology, into IT, be prepared in your mind that it's not going to be easy in the beginning, right?
Mm,
I'm sure that you can probably share the same thing, right?
yes.
So, a lot of some of the results that I see today, we can talk about. I can see my friend Sakofi putting hard times in there. Yeah, so there were some hard times. So it's sort
Mm,
of like in your mind, and it's something that I've also told people because I've been opportuned to train people that were maybe moving from waitressing jobs, security jobs, and looking to transition into IT. And the first day of class, what I usually tell them is this: listen, I'm going to be saying things that may not make sense to you, right?
mm,
But just stick with it. Stick with me, please, right? May not make sense to you, stick with it. You may be working with something, trying to learn Kubernetes, trying to learn cloud, trying to learn Azure. Nothing is making sense to begin with. In the beginning, you're feeling as if, man, I'm biting too much that I can chew. Right? This is too
mm,
much for me. My mind cannot handle it. It's hard before it becomes easy. Once you press past that point, then maybe one or two things begin to make sense, and then other
mm,
things begin to make sense. But you have to push
mm,
past that point to begin with. So back to your question now. To answer the question on sound like how how I do like innovative ideas. In the past, I would have told you, you have to get into books, get into that. But these
mm.
days, I think that I found like an easier way to do that.
Okay.
So Kofi can tell you a story. So my friend Kofi is on the line, by the way. So shout out to Kofi. So one of the things that I saw, when I was working in a company, I remember there was one young guy that moved all the way from like second line, right? Very rapidly. This guy moved from second line, he moved to third line support,
Wow.
he moved to manager role, and then
Wow.
eventually, right now, is the chief security officer of like Sophos, right? So the guy that's
Wow.
the current, yeah. So, but then I looked at the guy and I was like, wow, that's like a rapid rise. But then
Mm,
one thing that I also saw about this guy is that he's always in conferences. He's always
mm,
in user groups. He's always in communities. So that was when my eyes first opened as to the relevance of community. Right? I didn't know that before. So I was like, why is this guy always in conferences? Why is he always in communities? So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to attend one of these conferences. I'm going to attend one of these communities and see why this guy is always in this stuff.
mm,
And then I remember that day again, I traveled all the way to London then and I went for a community meeting. I was like a Microsoft conference and I entered the conference and I attended a few sessions. And I tell you, leaving that conference, I was thinking differently. And I was like,
mm.
wow, this is where this guy was getting all the ideas from. This guy just comes back and the guy goes, here's what we need to implement. Here's what we need to be implementing. And all he was doing was he was getting these ideas by being around other smart people. So that was the
Mm,
thing. So, talking about building innovation, to me, the biggest advice is that you have to be connected to a community. You have to go for the conferences. Being
mm.
around other smart people, being around other passionate people, like Mr. Shea, as I mentioned, every time I speak to him, it transfers some passion to me every single time. Just get him on grass, just mention the word grassroots, boom, Mr. Shea goes. Yeah, so you have to be there. To me, that's the easiest way. So, and tell you that story is repeatable because what happens then was, I remember Sir Kofi. I was like, Sir Kofi, and one of my good friend again, Demola, I was like, let's go for like another Microsoft conference this time. I believe maybe it was in Birmingham or so. And it was the
Mm,
same story. We went for that conference and Sir Kofi went, wow, that was good. I saw a guy talking about how he automated his entire Twitter and everything. And I know that guy talking about something. You have to be around other smart people. It's going to energize your mind. You have to attend the conferences. You have to attend the event. You may not be seeing the result initially, but you have to keep doing that.
mm. That's being around smart people. Uh, my story was I remember when I first became MCT,
Hmm.
and in those days it was very scarce in Nigeria.
Hmm.
You have to have somebody to do the trainer. There was nobody. I sought everywhere, but I just want to be a trainer. Now
Mm.
I saw it online and I went to the US.
Mm.
Now that was my first time.
Mm.
And getting there, what amazed me, the
Mm.
distance, the time was a
Mm.
14-hour flight to the US.
Wow.
I got
Wow.
down,
Yeah.
the class, they are already on the second day. The class
Mm.
has started, and
Mm.
I rushed down with my bags. And you know what
Mm.
my co-create, he
Mm.
asked me, said, Shay, Shebi, your name is Shay. I said, yes.
Mm.
Do you think you can cope? I said, bros, I go cope. What did they talk? I fly from Nigeria. I go cope. I said, I go
Wow.
cope. And he
Wow.
said, can you meet up? I said, forget it. I'm going to, I
Wow.
was damn determined because
Mm.
I need to be among these guys.
Mm.
Now, that singular summit
Mm.
and event changed my course of thinking when it comes
Mm.
to technology. And
Mm.
at the end of the day, they
Mm.
were surprised. They said,
Mm.
how did you do it? They
Mm.
don't know, say, for Nigeria, we carry computer for head to
Yeah.
learn this thing. And
Yeah.
for us to fly down there, it takes
Yeah.
all from us to get it. So
Yeah.
what I get from you is that be around innovative people,
Yes.
try to go to conferences,
Mm.
although with this COVID-19, which has also um, brought it like uh, a little bit strain on conferences. We hope it will get up soon, but
Mm.
physical conference has always been there in terms of innovation and getting encouragement.
Mm.
And that also sit you up and say,
Mm.
I got this talent, I can do it.
Mm.
Please turn in your question, please. Turn in your question, turn in your question. We
Mm.
are going to get into your question very soon.
Mm.
Now, the next question is let us know your style.
Mm.
You moved from Sophos, your new establishment,
Mm.
and whenever you talk, you are so passionate about security.
Mm.
What is your style, Mr. David? Tell us what makes you tick.
I think like in terms of like style,
Mm,
like different people have different areas of passion. For you it's like the grassroots, right?
yeah.
For me it's about making things simple for others, right? So
Mm,
that's the thing that really really drives me. So, and again, that comes from passion. So I remember speaking to you earlier, and one of the things that you said to me was, when you became MVP you made a determination to yourself that
mm,
you're going to help other people become MVPs. And personally, I'm not, I don't care whether you take the credit or not. I credit you for the explosion of the number of MVPs that we are having in Nigeria these days, right? So
mm.
we have
Thank God.
multiple MVPs in Nigeria today. And I think part of that is because when you became MVP, you decided, hey, I'm also going to help others get to this, right? I'm not just
Mm,
gonna, be a special super somebody on one side. So one of the things that really gets to me in my career, and again is due to personal experience, if I've been in that position where other people have sort of looked down on me because I did not understand something to begin with. Right. So for example, like the way that it is, I told you that I only got to start playing with the computer at 400 level. So, initially when I first started like doing some IT support work in the UK, was sort of like at a disadvantage because many things that people have been playing around since they were young, I didn't know,
mm.
right? So it was like stuff
The
to
grassroots. That's what I'm
yeah,
telling you. The grassroots.
yeah, exactly. So it was like, I didn't know a bunch of that stuff. So then, I remember one day one guy came to me and it was like, I was like, hey, how do I upload these certificates to this server to do this? And the guy was like, if you don't know how to upload that, you have no business touching that system. I was like, cool
Wow.
down. I was like, yeah, cool down. I'm like, I'm like, and that kind of thing drives me because I'm like, no, I'm not going to be that kind of senior when I get to that level. I'm not going to
Mm,
be the kind of person that I'm going to say because you don't know one part of thing or two part of things, I'm going to discard you and say that. And one of the other things that I also found is that in IT sometimes we have a habit of making something that's simple sound complicated. I think sometimes it's because it makes us sound smarter, right? Like I
mm,
used to tell Sir Kofi, I'm like, you can go talk to somebody and say, hey, can you explain to me like what Azure is, or maybe what Azure Cognitive Service is? And by the time they finish their definition, you are more confused. Now, Azure Cognitive Service is the service that gives you like the AI transmission and this one, and you're like, hey, I asked you a simple question.
mm,
Now I'm more confused. Why don't you break it down and make it more simple for me? And that drives me, right? I'm driven to help other people to understand technology, to help other people to make it simple, right? I hate using complex words, right? I like
Mm,
using simple words to explain things. And I'm also into giving other people the opportunity, right? So those are the two things that really drives me. So, even as I try to like build my own career, build my own brand, and put myself in a position where I can provide for my family, I always ensure that I put those two brand of helping other people to get opportunity and also helping other people to simplify technology, right, in a way that makes
mm,
sense for them. And I think everybody has to find that, right? Maybe for you, like it's
yeah.
the grassroots. And I tell you, every time you talk about the grassroots, I live feeling energized all the time. So maybe for
Mm,
somebody else, maybe for you, if you struggled with something, maybe when you were growing up, it was very, very difficult for you to even get a hold of a computer to use to practice programming or something. Make sure that as you develop in your career, you turn around and you also put that as part of your personal style and brand.
mm. Okay. Abraham, please, you can send in your question through the chat. We'll get it here. And when the time for David to answer is going to go to it.
Mm,
Thank you, Abraham. And David, passion, um, you have to get your own guide. You have to get your own style.
mm,
You have to try to see inwardly where you are coming from. That's why I always preach. I was talking to some young chap here in
mm,
my grassroots. I take them on M365 and Power Platform. They
mm,
are young guys from the remote area, some area in Sudere that they cannot even afford, as I said, computer.
mm,
So, and when I was telling them, I said, you have to come up, you have to pass it on.
mm,
When whatever I'm doing to you, doing for you now or to you now is for you to pass it on to another person. And
mm,
that can also drive your passion and bring out your style and your brand.
mm.
And I support you there.
And
So
I
the
agree with
next,
you because once you pass it on, also you also get better, right? So that's
yes,
one of the
that's right.
secrets there. You
Yes.
pass it on, you get better.
Yeah.
I didn't see an exponential growth in my technical skills until I started training. Many people do
Mm,
not know that until I started training, I didn't see an exponential. So I was growing, but it was limited, right? I
mm,
saw an increasingly exponential growth once I started training other people, right? That's
mm,
a very, very key point, at least that I've seen in my own experience.
mm. I can assure you, all viewers, that I was he was trying to teach me how to use StreamYard. And the way David make it very simple, he just brought out a diagram when you bring team. I was wondering, he was taking me at a very, very granular level, and I understand what this technology was all about. So that also can tell you that wherever you are coming from can enable you to simplify the way technology look like to others. That's why I'm putting David forward as one of the mentors that you can communicate with. We're going to showcase his name, his books, and you can call him, you can talk to him. He can be your mentor so that you can come out of your shell and become who God has made you to be. The next question we want to ask you, you're in the security space.
Yes.
How do you choose this path? Because so many viewers want to cut change career. They want to understand the path they need to take,
Hmm.
and they want to make that path in their IT career. So
Yeah.
how do you get to the security space? How do you choose this as the way you want to run your career in IT?
Yeah, I think for me, similar to like, the way I got into IT to begin with was parental influence. The way I
Okay.
got into security also was by, I'll say, senior influence of people that were more senior than me. So, because what happened was immediately after I finished university, I was working, I got not immediately after a while, I got a job like working first line IT support in a company. So just doing first line IT support, taking calls. Hello, what's the problem? Or have you switched off your computer, switch it back on? Have you done that? So that was sort of like the first job that I was doing. So I did that for like a while, right? And then I moved into like maybe like a 1.5 level IT support and everything, right? And then somehow I found my way eventually working in IT support in a security company, which is Sophos, right? So I was working at
Mm,
Sophos IT support company. So, and I had like a senior above me that sort of saw that I was really serious, right? He saw that,
mm,
even though I was like first line IT support, I was really, really serious. And what he started to do was he started to give me more responsibilities. Right? He
Mm,
started to say to me, um, okay, we need somebody that would do this on even like third level work, but the third level guys are busy. David, are
mm,
you okay to do that? And I never said no whenever he asked me to. I'm like, yep, I'll take that. Right. So he
mm,
started giving me more stuff to do, started giving me more work to do. So then it got to a point where it was like, we have a project, David. We need to implement like some firewalls globally across all these different places. All these other senior guys are busy. Are you okay to take that walk? I'm like, yep,
mm,
I'm okay. I'm okay to take that walk. Right. And then, I had to write the policies and define the policies for the different group. I had to put all of that together. So essentially what I'll be doing is at night, I'll be studying and reading
mm,
articles and stuff and reading that together, putting that together. And then in the morning, I'll be checking it out with people. And then I'll be, putting together my policies that I'll put forward to him. Right. So
mm,
then I was like, I'm actually enjoying this. I'm actually enjoying this security stuff. Right. So unfortunately, when I finished that contract, they were like, sorry, there's no role for us to give to you. So I just went back to my first line support stuff. So essentially, that was how I fell in security. So I didn't really
mm,
choose security to begin with. I fell into it.
mm,
Right. So, I'm not sure, like, how people, because that's sort of like the approach that I've sort of taken in my own career. So I've sort of evolved with the industry. I feel like we are in an industry that you have to be open to evolve, right? So
mm,
you have to be open to, whatever path you take. If the path begins to evolve, you have to evolve with that path. You can't be too static in our industry. So
mm,
that was how I felt. So, for example, when I started security, I started with network security. Eventually, that evolved into endpoint security, right?
mm.
And eventually, that's now evolved into cloud security. But I was always willing to follow wherever the industry is going, right? So
Okay.
I got into security, and then I just sort of like followed that path.
Mm. So
Mm.
yours is you were fortunate to be in security establishment,
Yes.
and you you position yourself to take more responsibility.
Mm.
Then you launch out to learn more on that track,
Yes.
and that makes you now with that you are moving. You're already in the expert category because you speak in London, you speak in the US, you have been going all over the world. But the storyline is that you were able to take responsibility and push harder,
Mm.
especially in the part where you enjoy, because you
Mm.
mentioned you enjoyed it. So if you
Yeah.
are there and you are thinking of changing career,
Mm.
look at all those IT area that
Yeah.
you enjoy.
Mm.
You when you do it,
Mm.
you are relaxed. You can
Yeah.
push yourself further. You
Yeah.
can do more. I bet,
Yeah.
David, that's what I'm hearing. You can do
I
more on that
yeah.
part.
I completely agree with you on that. So because I've had people reach out to me and people go, "Oh, David, data science. I hear that data science is really popular. They're making a lot of money. I get into data
Mm,
science." My question to them is always, "Are you sure that you enjoy it?" I'm like,
mm,
so go, just don't listen to what other people are saying, because the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, the truth is, this is a good industry to be in. In all
yeah,
honesty, it's a good industry to be in, and it's a good time to be in the industry, right?
yeah.
So, however, you have to be careful not to just follow the noise, right? So, data science is good, it's making a lot of money. Security is good, it's making a lot of money. But maybe that's not the way you're built, right? Maybe you're not
Mm,
built in it. So, for example, I did programming, right? I can write programs. My final project, when I even did my master's in University of Portsmouth, was writing a mobile application for ubiquitous mobile food ordering. That was like way back in 2009 when I wrote a whole Java application by myself and did all of that stuff. I can do that, but I realized that I don't want to sit down in front of a computer coding all day, right? That
mm.
wasn't it. That didn't really inspire me. That didn't really move me like that much. I can do it.
Inspire,
Yeah,
inspire. Yeah, that's the
yeah,
word.
yeah,
Inspire.
yeah. So for me, and I agree. So I completely agree with you that there's nothing bad in you testing out different areas. So test out different areas. Do some data science. Do some security. Do some DevOps. Do some stuff, and then pick out like which areas that's like, yo, you know what? I find this one to be interesting, and go for that.
Mm. Yeah, you're right. IT is vast,
Mm,
and one thing I know about IT, they're all converging now. Data science is converging with security because
mm,
you can't do anything without security,
mm,
and
yeah,
even administration, you need to know some security.
mm,
So it shows us that whatever knowledge you have,
Mm.
What can make you who you are
Mm.
is when you know what you enjoy doing.
Mm.
If you enjoy developing application, that might be your line and your
Yeah.
career path.
Mm.
Just follow it.
Mm.
Don't follow the noise. Follow
Yeah.
what your passion tells you.
Mm.
Now, before we go for a break, the sixth question we want to ask you, there's some other people asking question here.
Yeah.
I think David Emmanuel asked, he said, from experience so far, what are the list of tasks for Azure DevOps to be able
Mm.
to learn to perform?
Yeah.
Um, we leave that. I'll just run through the question so that you not forget it.
Mm.
Then another Abraham asks, is an Azure administrator
Mm.
and is using free voucher currently
Mm.
during COVID period. But
Mm.
when the COVID is gradually wrapping, is COVID is no more the main event now, as
Mm.
he's saying,
Mm.
and is losing touch with the practicality.
Yeah.
He's asking, what advice can you give him?
Yeah. Do you want me
So
to answer that now?
you can go ahead, answer
Oh.
that. Then we go to your question. Then we go for a break. We
Yeah.
look at our mentors. Then we now come back for the last stage. Go
Okay. Yeah.
ahead.
So I'll answer David Emmanuel's question first. So from your
Okay.
experience, the list of tasks that an average Azure DevOps should be able to perform. So there's certain tracks in IT where you do need to have a knowledge of many areas.
Mm,
DevOps is one of those areas. So, for example, if you're a developer, you focus on software development. Maybe you're then getting into engineering. You focus on software engineering. Maybe then you get into architecture. You're focusing on software architecture, right? That's a plain track, right? So even if it's data, you're mainly focusing on that data track. Fields like security, fields like DevOps require a strong base knowledge of many other areas. So, for example, if I'm going to be securing a network, I have to know some networking, right? Even though
mm,
I don't have to be a network expert, I have to have some base knowledge of networking, right? If I'm doing security, I have to have some endpoint secure knowledge, right? I have to have some basic Azure knowledge if I'm going to be securing Azure, right? There's nothing like you just have Azure security by itself. You have to know some Azure. It's like you're a security guy that's meant to be protecting the White House. You need to know what it does in the White House. What does it look like? You need to
mm,
have a strong knowledge of what you're securing, right? So DevOps is one of those areas where you have to understand operations. You have to know how to build servers, automate the build of servers, how to maintain servers, how to manage servers, how to troubleshoot servers. And you also have to have some development knowledge on development processes. How to use source control, how to use automation tools, what are the processes for software development, what are the processes for testing software. So DevOps is one of those areas where you need like a broad knowledge of some development basics knowledge and some operational basic knowledge. And those are the kind of tasks that you're going to be performing day to day. So tasks that has to essentially that combines both phases together, right? So things like again, maybe day to day. Yeah, you could be working maybe on troubleshooting certain issues to do with an application that you're deploying today, right? Maybe you're working to fix some issues that has to do with building your software the next day. Maybe the software is failing some tests the next day, and you're trying to walk around. Well, why is it failing that test? How do you get it to pass that test? What is it that you need to fix? So it's going to vary between development and operational aspects to it. So I can go for the next question very quickly. So, which is um, uh, Abraham's question on how do I ensure that I'm not out of touch because I'm not practicing something. So, my simple answer to that is teach other people, Abraham.
mm,
So, teach other people. So, when I was on the service desk, that was when I started my YouTube channel. So, I was teaching people server administrator stuff while I was in service desk. That wasn't my day to day job. But I was, like I mentioned to Shayi earlier, I was going to London to learn these things. And I wasn't using them, but I was learning the skills. But I wasn't using them at work. So what was my outlet was I was teaching them to others on YouTube. Right. So, and that kept me in touch. That kept me in sync. As I was teaching it to others, I was learning more. I was growing. People would ask me questions that I didn't know how to answer. So I have to go research how to answer. And I was getting better that way. So, Abraham, at least the way that I know, maybe there are other ways that you can add to that. But my own way is if you're looking to start to not forget something that you're not using on a day-to-day basis. Start teaching it to other people. Get into a community, start contributing to that. Get into a community, offer to speak on that topic. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if she has any recommendations that you
Well,
want to add to that.
David, you're right. That is basic. Pass it on. It retains your knowledge. Then, when you are in a community, you can also learn and try to get more knowledge towards what you want to achieve. Thirdly, there's what we call Microsoft Learn. Microsoft Learn is now building up most of their track with 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 labs that you can easily run, and they like a sandbox that you can use to practice. So on the particular subject, it's not all, but some of them, if you check, I think Azure is part of those tracks. They can guide you through that, and you can use that as a practice or a learning, your streamline for learning. Apart from talking to people, teaching people, you can also use to bridge yourself. Now, there's another question, but I want us to hold on that. I want David to answer this question. How do you balance your work as an IT person and your home life?
And she's gonna laugh at me here. So it's my wife.
Yes, I know.
It's
You
my
watch
wife that
movies.
yeah. If not for that, I tell you, if not for that, I would just walk. I'm
Yeah,
similar to Sheyi in that aspect.
yeah,
We're all about the work. And
yeah.
that's sort of like the stuff. So it's my wife that helps me to keep balance. So it's like so eventually, like for example, one of the things that we've been doing these days. So that was the reason why I was late to respond to your messages earlier today. Was Saturday is sort of like our day, family day now. So I can work
Oh,
as
great.
much as I want during the
During
week.
the week.
Or Saturday morning all the way to afternoon. Evening, and you can do
Mm,
community stuff, but all the way to afternoon,
mm.
the family stuff, we're going out. So that helps me to keep balance. And I also have great friends that we talk about African challenges like Sarkofi. We just get together, we talk about what's going on with our leaders in Africa. And so, we talk
Oh,
about stuff like that. So yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
and
that's
also
good.
like maybe one other thing to add to that is, fine. Everybody has one or two or three things that you really enjoy doing, right? So
Mm,
for me, it's about watching. Sometimes I watch criminal investigation shows and other stuff like that. So find what you do and try to do them a bit more often. It's good for the mental health. Many
okay.
times I can tell you, like, when I'm trying to work on some issue and no ideas is coming. I take some time
Mm,
off. I go to watch some criminal investigation shows, come back, and then the ideas begin to flow. So it's also good
mm,
for our mental health.
okay. Try to balance your work and your home life. And we're going to take a break now, but there's a question I want David to quickly look at. And that question is, what is your recommendation when you are trying to pick up an IT training platform to
Yeah,
improve your skill? Can
very,
you
very
take
good.
that before we take the break?
Yeah, very good question. So these days, I'll say um, information about like watching videos, reading articles and stuff like that. A lot of that information is available, online for free. So you can go
Mm,
to YouTube and watch previous conferences that people have spoken at Microsoft previous Microsoft conferences. You can read the document from Microsoft website and all of that stuff. So that's available for free. The thing that's unique is being able to do hands-on. So whenever you're thinking of picking a platform to use for learning, I'll say look for a platform that has hands-on training. Like what Mr. Sheyi said just now. So Microsoft Learn, for example, they've also realized that,
and it's
right? So
free.
yeah, exactly, and it's free, and they have it in a sandbox, like you said. So what they're ensuring that they do is that they put hands-on there. So I'll say that's number one, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do in your labs can go on your CV because that's your
Yeah,
experience, right?
you're right.
So
You're
make
right.
sure you get something that gives you hands-on experience.
Yeah. Thank you, David. We'd like to take a break now. And I want to, the grassroots has been, from my research, has been the greatest place where talent reside, and they are yet to be untapped. And we hope that uh, you find this event as a way of trying to come out of your shell and trying to get a career path that can energize you into the next stage of your life. And we're going to take it here where we're going to showcase all our mentor. Just we'll be back after this slide.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence, and the dark's all that I see. When your stars have burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky. You'll always be my night sky. so loud when you go. I just stay dancing with my shadow all day.
Okay. We're back. David. Um, okay, thank you, David. Sorry, we just need to show our mentors, and we have more. We
No, no
showcase
problems at
next.
all. That's amazing. That is
Yeah,
amazing. Like the number of people that you have there. I think
yeah,
this is an awesome program that you're putting together, Mr. Shea. Really, really
yeah,
appreciate you doing this.
yeah,
So really
yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So all of them are willing to communicate, to connect with people, and to talk about their experience and how they can guide us to the next level of our IT career. Now, the last question is you have a book, I
Yes.
guess, and we want to know what inspired you to write the book and what is the book all about.
Yeah. So, like, in terms of like what inspired me, so it's one of the things that I got into earlier in my career, which is I'm always documenting things, always. So early in my career, I'm always as I'm learning something, as Dara mentioned last week on the call that we did. So I'm typically documenting for myself, right? So that
Mm,
in case I need this information in the future, I can always refer back to that. So that's just been part of my stuff. So I recently wrote a book on Microsoft, studying for the Microsoft Azure Security certification. So again, the goal that I had when I wrote this book was to make things simple. So the
mm,
way I explain things like concept like Azure AD, perimeter security in Azure, container security in Azure, was to demystify it. I always like taking the complexity away from things, and that's the approach that I sort of followed when I wrote that down this particular book. But there's another one, I think that's probably on the next slide, which will be announced officially on Monday, but you get to see it here first. So this is the
wow.
first, yeah, this is the very first time that I'm announcing this one. So penetration testing Azure for ethical hackers. So, and I co-wrote this with Carl Fossine. So Carl is a director in a security consultancy company in Oregon. So he heads a group of security researchers. So, opportunity to work with him on this book. So it's on offensive security for Azure. So this is one of the areas that you don't see a lot of information out there. Many people are always
Mm,
talking about how to use Microsoft tools to defend Azure. But one of
mm,
the good points about security is you also have to learn the mindset of an attacker. How do
mm,
attackers think when they attack Azure? What tools do they use? What techniques do they use? And what we've
mm,
done in this book is we've put in hands-on. So every single chapter has about 3 or 4 hands-on scenarios where you set up a vulnerable environment in Azure. You're going to practice how to attack it, how to exploit it, right? And that's useful for companies, right? So you can do consultancy for companies and say, let me work with you, let me pen test your environment. Let's see if we can find holes in your security, right? And then pay
mm,
me, and then I'll tell you how to fix it. So that's what this one is about.
mm. That's great. So
Yeah.
if for someone asks the question that it needs books, these are books that you can actually, as I said, my experience with David is that he simplify the way you look at technology, and that's because of his background, what he learned, and he wants to make it simple for everyone. So if you're in the grassroots and you want to learn about hacking, what is necessary, this is a book you can get. You can get to Amazon. The 2 books you can get to Amazon. Just go to the link below here, Amazon, and try to look at that number. The first one is 2ZOD11Z. The other one is 3YBQQNN. Look out for it, and you can actually buy it. And I know, do you have a special code for us if we say
I
we are from
I'll
this?
work on that. Yeah, I'll work on
Okay,
that for the
great.
next session that you do. So because I didn't
Okay.
know I was going to be announcing it today, so I will work on that, and
Okay.
I'll get something out to the community. I
Yeah, so
promise.
that the community
Yeah.
can also have a feel of the book. So
Yeah.
I think that's all from us here today. And the reason why we are here is to ensure that we all have a benefit of understanding what it takes to be able to what? To understand how to get into IT. Let's hear story from people that have started from the grassroots, how hard it took for them, but now they are at the top of their career. What are lessons we can learn? In conclusion, we can see that I don't know if there's any other question. Please, if you have any question, you can quickly send it now before we close. Okay, they want David. Can you drop the Amazon link? Some people are
Yeah.
asking to check for the books,
I'll do that
but
now. Yes.
know that he has not worked on the discounts. So maybe you have to wait, but still drop the link so that they can have a feel of the book. Okay, thank you, David.
Yes.
Yeah. And secondly, we learned that you have to go an extra mile, ensure that you push yourself. Don't be comfortable where you are. If you have a passion for IT, get up to community. We have several community in Nigeria and in Ghana, in Cote d'Ivoire, that at least those are the main for the West African region where we are, where you can easily be onboarded to learning. And for us, we have several Nigerian tech community. We have the MCT group, we have the M365 group, we have the security group, we have the Power BI, we have the AI and development, we have the Azure community. We also have MSQL server group. We have the one for AI and data for Africa. We have several group, Dynamics group led by Ahmed. And we have the Power BI professional group led by Michael and Ahmed, the second Ahmed Oyilowo. And we have for states, we have the one for Oyo State led by Ahmed Wale Adewale Ahmed Wale, and we have the one that is led by Razak for Shaki Group, and we have one led by Jepta from Edo State and some city in Lokoja, and we have other leaders like for Textile. If you're a woman and you want to get into IT, Jumoke, Toriola, and Foyi is adding that. They are able to guide you as a woman to get on board. And we have so many other groups led by data and AI led by Olana, etc. So just give us a call. Give us there's a link for the Azure. From the Azure link, you can navigate and ask for any other group you want to join. As far as you have the will, we have the environment to make it work for you. David, any final word?
Again, I just want to say thank you, Sheyi, for this amazing thing that you're doing. So I'm personally just listening to the different communities that you mentioned. Wow, that's so amazing. And, it's going to keep growing. We're going to, even though, there's a lot to say about our government, we'll leave our government alone for now. But whatever we can do to help to tap into those unreached community, there's a lot of talent that we have in Africa. Amazing, amazing talent. I tell you, bright minds, right, exist in the communities around us. Let's get them into technology. The things that took us many years to figure out, let's make sure we teach it to them early, right? So they can go quicker, right? Right. So maybe the next person that will be the biggest job creator in Nigeria or in Ghana is in the community without a laptop now, right? Whatever you can do to reach them, to get them in the communities, let's all do that together. So thanks very much for doing this.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. And when we come your way next time, let's know that the grassroots is where the untapped talent is. I'm going to bring an amazing person. It might be someone outside Nigeria. It might be someone from Ghana, someone from Ivory Coast. But what we want to learn as African is that the will, we have the talent, we should achieve a change in our environment. Have a blessed Saturday. We see you next month. We come up with an amazing person, and we are expecting our discount code from David. Have a lovely Saturday. Sorry for us.
Bye bye.
I think taking 12 minutes. We very we'll work on that next time. Wonderful day. David,
Bani kò ṣẹrú. Ó wá sáyé ọmọ Bani kò ṣẹrú. Ó wá sáyé kò ṣẹ̀wọ̀n.
Ó yá akéde mo fẹ́ délé bàbá tó bí lọ́mọ.
Ọmọ Bani kò
Bàbá
ṣẹrú.
mi ò gbànígbà ní ojú ọ̀nà ó ṣe gbọ́. Òsán gírí lágírí, ọ̀la gírí làkà.
Ọmọ Bani
Akọ́kọ́
kò
arẹ́rẹ́
ṣẹrú.
o. Bàbá mi ò wá kẹ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ jù jọ.